Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was born on October 2nd, 1869. He was born from a man named Karamchand, who was born in 1822 and died in 1885, and a woman named Putabai, who was born in 1822 and died in 1891. Gandhi was born in Porbandar, India. Porbandar is a coastal town in India. Gandhi's great-grandfather was a grocer in this town, which is where Gandhi got the name Gandhi, which means grocer. Gandhi's father made Gandhi marry a friend at the age of 13. Her name was Kasturbai Mukherjee, who was born in 1869 and died in 1944. Gandhi went on to have 4 children with his wife. Gandhi then went and studied law in London and came back to India in 1891. Michael Luther King Jr. was born on January 5, 1929 to Martin Luther King Sr. and Alberta Williams King. Michael was later changed to Martin because Martin wanted his name changed. As a child, King went to a segregated school in Georgia. Martin Luther King Jr. was born in Atlanta, Georgia. This is a picture of Martin Luther King Sr. and Alberta Williams King, who were Martin Luther King's parents. Martin Luther King Jr. went to Morehouse College. That is a school just for African Americans. He then studied theology in Pennsylvania. He was awarded a BD in 1951. He went to Boston University to get his doctorate in 1953 and received a degree in 1955. In 1954, Martin Luther King Jr. became a pastor at the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. In 1955, Martin Luther King Jr. met a woman named Coretta and married her. He then went on to have 2 sons and 2 daughters. Gandhi believed in Hinduism. Gandhi was also open-minded. Gandhi believed that violence would cause the end. He loved all human beings in the world and didn't want to harm anybody. Many of Gandhi's beliefs were derived from Buddhism and Judaism. This is where Gandhi got this idea of ahimsa, which is the practice of nonviolence. Ahimsa is the way in which you live, where you have no desire to kill anybody or anything, and you live in peace. This is a symbol for ahimsa. One of the first nonviolent actions that Gandhi did was that he went down to South Africa, which was ruled by the Dutch at the time. He helped the people fight for their rights. By the time Gandhi was done in South Africa, he had saved 800 slaves and made the Natal Indian Congress. Gandhi now was recognized as a leader. He had done all this within his belief of nonviolence. Mohandas then started to be called Mahatma, which means great soul. Another thing that Gandhi did that was very important was the Salt March. The Salt March consisted of people walking 200 miles from Ashram Ahmedabad to the Arabian Sea, where Gandhi was going to pick up salt. This was a symbol of Gandhi making salt, which was illegal at the time because the British owned India, and they said that this was illegal. This action was in defiance against the British, and it made people realize that peace could be a weapon. Even when the people got attacked heading back, nonviolence was used. A month later, Gandhi was put in jail. The Salt March, however, had caused protests to fire up. Gandhi had started many movements which were getting violent. He didn't want to be a part of them. This was after the Chari Chara broke out. He then fasted for 5 days to make up for the crime. One man born in India really affected the world because of his nonviolent viewpoints. He also fasted after the Salt March as a sort of threat to the British. The British then set Gandhi free after 6 days because they did not want to be responsible for his death. Martin Luther King Jr. was Baptist. Growing up, Martin Luther King Jr. read many of Gandhi's books about peace and nonviolence. This is the reason he grew up believing in nonviolence. Rosa Parks was the person to make him become intrigued with the civil rights movement. Frederick Douglass was another person that inspired Martin Luther King Jr. After the Rosa Parks incident, Martin Luther King Jr. started to protest as part of the bus boycott. The Southern Christian Leadership Conference, or SCLC, was created by Martin Luther King Jr. and his group of friends. This group deals with a lot of issues such as the civil rights. Martin Luther King became the president of this group in 1957. At this point in Martin Luther King Jr.'s life, he was going around 6 million miles and speaking 2,500 times. He also wrote many articles and some books. The March on Washington was a walk in which about 250,000 people participated. This was a nonviolent, disobedient act. This was a walk for freedom and jobs. This march sparked much media coverage, and many people in the U.S. were mad about this march. This is a picture of MLK Jr.'s famous I Have a Dream speech at the end of the March on Washington. Martin Luther King Jr. was the youngest person to ever receive the Nobel Peace Prize for his nonviolent actions. He gave all the money that he won to the civil rights movement. This civil rights activist who used nonviolence was assassinated on April 4th, 1968. Gandhi, who Martin Luther King Jr. got his views and thoughts from, was assassinated on January 30th, 1948. Today, people want the acts of nonviolence to go on, but it's getting difficult because so much violence is happening. There are still people who follow by Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr., but there are also many who do not and will not.